Hello and good evening. You're welcome to Joy News at 8. I am Kimini Nyamani Amano.
And I am Gifty Ando Apia. In the headlines for today, the committee organizing the funeral of late President John Evans Atta Mills has, as part of tradition, says they will hand over his body to his family after an initial state burial. Does that mean President Mills will be buried twice?
Now also to come, Emisa Arthur nomination and the fire.
President Mahama assures Nigeria of good bilateral relations.
Now, Ministry of Works and Housing to chase out foreigners in building industry without a license.
In business, Finance Minister Kwabena Dufo admits errors in supplementary budgets.
On the entertainment front, Mills' nephew Nadbrew makes a song for him.
And in sports, GFA President Kwesi Nyantakyi prematurely ends his work with FIFA at Olympic Games.
Well, all these and more coming up in a bit.
Meanwhile, latest release from Funeral Planning Committee indicates President Mills will be buried on a parcel of land between the Castle Drive and the Marine Drive. The parcel of land will later be developed into a presidential mausoleum.
Now, to some other story. The family of late President Evans Atta Mills has, as part of tradition, called on the family of former First Lady Ernestina Nadu Mills after officially receiving news about the death to perform some rites. The ceremony was held behind closed doors. Now, Minister of Water, Resources, Works and Housing Eating Mensah, however, disclosed some of the indoor discussions to Joy News.
This morning, the family of the late president called on the family of the former First Lady, Mrs. Dr. Nadu Mills, and I happen to be one of the members of the family, to perform a very important, function. That was that they came to officially inform us about the funeral. Last Monday, we went to Cape Coast to inform them about the fact that the man who they knew was married to our sister was no more. And they also came to officially tell us that they got a message, they've checked, found out, and that it was true, and also gave us the details about the funeral rites that the wife of the deceased had to perform.
He said though the funeral and burial dates have been confirmed, both families are waiting for a confirmation of a burial place.
That was what they came to confirm to us, the family of Mrs. Nadu Mills, that the days have been confirmed and that the date was set in consultation with them. So we're still waiting for confirmation of where he's going to be buried, and I believe that we'll know before the end of the week where he's going to be buried.
And we're still on the funeral arrangement of Professor Evans Atta Mills departed. Now, there's a press release here, and it says it is announced for the information of the general public that following consultations and upon the recommendation of the Funeral Planning Committee, President John Dramani Mahama had decided that the late President of the Republic, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, be laid to rest on Friday, August 10th, 2012 at a specially designated place in between Castle Drive and Marine Drive in Accra. The area will subsequently be developed into a presidential mausoleum, and it is signed by Kofi Totobi Kwache, the chairman of the Funeral Planning Committee, on Thursday, 2nd August 2012, which is today. Moving on to other stories. President John Mahama has pledged to continue all agreements and pending projects between Ghana and all countries in the ECOWAS sub-region. He was addressing the Vice President of Nigeria, who is the latest to console him on the loss of President Mills. I was at the castle, and I have the details now in this report. The Vice President of Nigeria, His Excellency Mohammed Namadi Sambu, who led a delegation consisting the national chairman of the ruling People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, Nigeria's foreign minister, as well as his special advisor, was here to convey Nigeria's condolences to Ghana. His host, President Mahama, shared with him a brief chronology of President Mills's political life and his developmental achievements, notable among which is the enviable GDP of 14.2%. He was impressed at the sincerity shown by all Ghanaians in the course of mourning the deceased president.
Of our President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR, who has requested me to come with a delegation to extend our sincere condolences on behalf of the President, the government, and the good people of Nigeria. For the family, may God grant them the fortitude to bear this great loss. I thank you very much, Excellency.
It is difficult to lose such a person at this time and at a very critical stage when he was seeking re-election to office for a second term. But as you said, that day will come for all of us, and God knows best. There are a lot of economic and political ties between our two countries. And so I'm not surprised, and it is only natural that when this event occurred, President Goodluck Jonathan, President of the Friendly Republic of Nigeria, was the first head of state to call me and express his condolences. It is a reflection of the bonds that exist between our two countries.
Mr. Mohammed Namadi Sambu, who described the loss of President Mills as an irreparable loss to the entire Africa, commended Ghana for sustaining democracy in the interest of the people of Ghana and ultimately Africa. For Joy News, Gifty Ando Apia, Castle Osu.
Meanwhile, Nigerian Vice President Mohammed Namadi Sambo has joined other dignitaries to pay homage to former President Mills at his residence in Accra, where he signed the Book of Condolence. Now, this makes him the second African leader to give his condolence to the late president's family after the president of Benin.
The vice president, who was accompanied by his entourage, was welcomed by Minister of Water Resources, Works and Housing, E.T. Mensah, who expressed his profound gratitude on behalf of family and wife of late President Dr. Nadu Mills. He was also at the State House to sign the state's Book of Condolence. Also present at the Mills' residence were members of the Forum for Former MPs, headed by their president Kosi Kedem, former MP for Hohoi South, now Afajato South.
The president was God's gift to Ghana. We might not have realized it, but in due course, we hope that that will be manifested. But all that we want to say is that none of us live or die unto himself. If we die to the Lord. If we live to the Lord. Whether we die or live, we are the Lord's.
Ghana Education Service representatives who say Dr. Nadu Mills was once a part of them also shared in the grief of their former colleague. Ghana Association for the Disabled also signed the Book of Condolence. Meanwhile, more dignitaries and members of the public continue to sign the Book of Condolence at the State House.
Hey. The funeral committee set up by the state to organize the burial of late President John Evans Atta Mills has reached an agreement with the Otuam family for the final resting place of the late president. The Otuam family met the committee today in Accra, and there are indications the family might seek to rebury the late president.
Speaking to the media after a meeting with the president's family, Nana Tudazi, spokesman for the funeral planning committee, confirmed Atta Mills will be buried by the state.
Well, they have agreed with us that the president must be buried at the most convenient place to be determined by His Excellency the President. One of the things that was hindering us and holding us back was the fact that we haven't had these negotiations with the family. Really, now that it's been cleared and they've joined, I believe that we have a duty and obligation to roll out the program to the whole nation anytime today or tomorrow.
He further stated the Otiam family will be playing a key role in the burial ceremony.
By custom, a person at death belongs to the family. So essentially, the family ought to have taken the decisions on place of burial, date of funeral, and all that. But this is not an ordinary person, as I explained to them, and they seem to have grasped that clearly this is a head of state. He has state obligations, he has international obligations, we have obligations to the family. So consequently, they can only play a lead role. And in the program itself, we've put in arrangements so that they play a very active role in, first of all, identifying the body privately, and secondly, opening the funeral, and also, as we've just agreed, have the ASAFO participate actively. That's our man, Tom, participate, and they will really be in charge of the funeral, both at Black Star Square and at the burial.
Spokesperson for the Otium family also confirmed to Joy News that the committee has agreed to allow the Otium family to determine the final resting place for the former president.
After the negotiation, we've given everything to the planning committee to take charge of the whole funeral. But we are going to participate. According to them, they have requested us to give them 2 representatives so that they will be actively involved in the planning of the funeral and everything. It's a man for the whole nation. And the presidency is the seat of government, who is in charge of every activities in Ghana. So we've given that prerogative to the president to determine the place for the burial as at now. But we are in consultation with them. We've agreed that we have the last a place for the burial of the president, the final burial place of the president.
The committee is expected to reach its final decision on the funeral ceremony by the close of Thursday.
Now, members of the Central Region Queen Mothers Association were filled with grief and guilt as they called on former First Lady Nadu Mills. Their guilt stems from the fact that the association could not thank President Mills for donating a bus to their group. The Queen Mothers joined the Parliamentary Women's Caucus and other religious leaders to console Ernestina Nadu Mills at her residence here in Accra.
Financial Secretary of the Queen Mothers Association from Central Region, Nana Abba Afrewa III, said in his reign, President Evans Mills started paying stipends to the Queen Mothers and uplifting their status where their male counterparts had not given them the chance. She said they were aggrieved that they had not properly thanked the late president for donating a bus to the association. They hoped current President Mahama would not ignore them.
When Prof came into power, he started paying the Paramount Queen Mothers, giving them monthly salaries. Initially, they focused on the men. The focus was on the men. So as soon as Prof came into power, he promised us that he was going to work with the women. And in fact, Prof started paying our Paramount Queen Mothers and promised the divisional and the sub-Queen Mothers that he will also pay us. So when we heard about the news, all that we said was that it is finished with us. Likewise, Prof promised us, giving us a bus. The bus was given to us on Sunday. Prof died on Tuesday.
Other royals who signed the Book of Condolence were the Paramount Chief of Kotokoli community and his chiefs across the country, Anglican religious leaders and members of the Constitutional Review Commission also took their turn, expressing the great loss to the country.
If after his death we are praising him for all the things he did, then we can continue with that praise by living peacefully with one another.
If most Ghanaians will copy from the principles that he followed in life, this place will not be as it is now.
I got the news of the sad demise of our president while in the United States. And upon that, I felt that I need to come home to share with the family, the nation, to grieve over a wonderful person.
The Parliamentary Women's Caucus were also at the premise to express their condolence. Ever since the sudden death of President Mills, people from various sectors of the country continue to pour in their tribute.
Away from funeral arrangements for the late president, the debate on whether Vice President Emisa Arthur should be vetted publicly rages on. Joy News hits the street to find out what the public thinks about the issue.
Publicly, for everybody should know, because myself never heard of him, I don't know him. And many people don't know him. And once it's coming for the country, it should be made publicly so that people will know about him. We know much about him. We know what he can do, his vision. And now that we have a great task ahead of us, we should know what he wants to do. So that when he doesn't fulfill it, we hold him responsible for it. Yeah.
I think it should be privately, because as far as I'm concerned, I've never seen any vice presidents being vetted publicly before. So I don't know if this has to do with politics and all of that, but I think it should be done privately.
I know some say, so no be oh. Education on what can the other can then will be betty say nothing. But you're hoping now. Obia ben nyanti ase say we all know so oba o di na adwini bi ene ediba ibiase
e pa cha me say ye ne public eye mo obia en tra na adwen nti me ma adwen say ye ne sa eye e be bo obia.
Yeah, we should do it publicly so that everybody will see him. Yeah.
I feel it should be open. Yeah. So that if anybody knows him somewhere else, then the person can say something about him. Maybe the person is right. But when they make it in a closed door, nobody will know what is going on. So it's better to be an open vet.
The parliament, they have the duty as they make law, so they know the law best. So if they think they should vet him, fine. If they don't vet him too, there is nothing wrong about it. Well, I think it's a formality. It should be vetted so that everybody will see publicly.
Now, Vice Presidential nominee Kwesi Emisa Arthur is probably a step away from becoming the nation's second gentleman. If he is able to impress the appointment committee, his appointment as Vice President may be approved.
But does Emisa Arthur have what it takes to fill such a high position as the office of the Vice President? NPP and PPP say his much-touted economic credentials is questionable. CPP and PNC say he is a good choice.
Mr. Kwesi Emisa Arthur faces the Appointment Committee of Parliament next Monday to be vetted, following his nomination by President Mahama as his Vice President. His nomination as Vice President is the first in the country's history due to the circumstances leading to it. To the CPP and PNC, President Mahama chose a suitable person who could help him get the job done.
If you're governor of the Bank of Ghana, you're certainly competent in many respects. But you know what is required of a vice president has many dimensions. It has competence, perhaps an understanding of the economy, perhaps an understanding of many things. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, having been vice president, knows what it takes to be vice president. He probably may have a better knowledge of Mr. Emisa Arthur than the rest of us.
It is said that the vice president is a heartbeat away from the presidency itself, and so for the president to nominate him as his vice, it means that he finds him to be suitable and competent enough to occupy that seat, and we don't have any reason to doubt the president's reasons for selecting him.
The NPP and PPP, however, beg to differ. According to them, President Mahama could have made a better choice since Emisa Arthur has a poor record of managing the country's currency.
The person who has been nominated to fill the seat of vice president is the person who has been head of our financial institution, which is the Bank of Ghana. He's been the one driving the economy. The only thing that's been put in his custody to take charge of is our currency. Where is our currency? Compare our currency rates to the dollar, the pound, and all the international currency. He has failed woefully in managing that sector.
As to what he brings to the ticket, it depends two things. In his management of the economy, we are disappointed that a man who has supervised over the Bank of Ghana and has achieved, if you like, or registered the worst record of the falling of our currency is promoted to now become the Vice President of the Republic.
Whether the president made the right choice remains to be seen. If Emisa Arthur is
Now, MP for Esikuma Odobin-Brakwa PC Appeal Fori has vowed to lead a major crusade to block Kwesi Mr. Arthur from becoming vice president of the country. Now, he cites Woyome judgment debt scandal to back his stance that the current BOG boss must not be elevated to occupy the position of vice president of the country. Now, on the line now is MP PC Apia Ofori. Good evening and thanks for joining us on Joy News at 8.
Good evening to you.
Now, when you say you would lead a major crusade to block Mr. Arthur from becoming vice president, what exactly does that mean?
I have not said that.
So then, when you said he was a wrong choice, what exactly did you mean by that?
Yes, what I said was that it's a man who is not prepared to allow the provisions of our financial act to prevail in the management of the resources of this country. And is a man who is not prepared to disclose to the president irregularities that have come to his notice. So such a person will not be an asset to the president, because if irregularities came to his notice and he was not prepared to alert the president for the president to arrest the untoward development, then it's not a person who should continue to be the vice president. Because if he does so, he will also let down John Mahama. Indeed, he let down President Atamers and brought great shame to President Atamers and his government. And if it's brought nearer to John Mahama, he will repeat the same thing. So they should get rid of him. He should not be the person to become the vice president.
Now, people always say that the world has got to a place where we need financial managers to be able to manage the economy of various countries. Don't you think beyond the issues you have raised, he could be a very good candidate in managing the economy as we want it to be?
Yes, you have said the right thing. We need a financial manager to help in managing the economy. I agree with you 100%. But if the financial manager fails to apply the financial regulations and the financial laws, then it's most irresponsible person, a person who should not be dependent upon for financial management. Look, Section 16 of the Financial Administration Act says not even a cedi should be drawn from the consolidated fund to pay for good work, work done, goods supplied, service rendered by anybody, unless, in addition to payment badges, a third party issues a certificate certifying that the work has been done, the goods have been supplied, the service has been rendered before payment is effected. That is the law which Governor of Bank of Ghana must ensure that this provision is complied with. When the government went to withdraw money from its consolidated funds to pay Woyome, as a governor, his duty was to ensure that this Financial Administration Act, the 16, has been complied with. So he should have drawn the president's attention to that they are coming for money to do this. But this is what they should, evidence they should produce.
Right.
But they didn't do it. So the president should take action.
Right.
The president should have stopped it. And this shame would have been prevented. So such a person doesn't deserve the position at all.
Now, during his vetting, or at the time of his vetting, the result of the vetting really would determine if he should be given the position, he should be given the nod or not. Now, what questions would you expect them to be asking him so we can really measure him up to the task?
I'm not a member of the vetting committee, so I cannot...
Right. Now, you're raising concerns about him. What do you think they should be looking at when it comes to vetting him so we are able to measure him to the task as a people, if the right choice has been made for us or not?
Yes. What I really want them to take into consideration is a person who will be able to bring to the notice of the president irregularities that come to his notice so that the president can take remedial actions. if this person is not capable of doing so, anything untoward affecting the government, affecting the NDC, affecting the president, may go on and not. So at the end of the day, the president will be disgraced out of office. So the president needs somebody who will be able to bring to his notice irregularities that come to his notice so that the president can take immediate remedial actions to prevent the damage.
Right. Thank you very much, PC Apio, for it.
Thank you.
So away from all that, former Attorney General Martin Amidu has filed a writ at the Supreme Court against the Attorney General, Isophoton SA, and the Ghanaian agent of Isophoton, Mr. Anani Ejay-Forson.
Martin Amidu, in a signed statement, said his suit hinges on Articles 2 and 130 of the 1992 Constitution, which gives patriotic citizens the right to promote probity, accountability and transparency in government. The writ was filed on 24 July 2012, seeking 9 declarations, including an interpretation of Article 181 of the Constitution. Martin Amidu said he delayed to make known the legal suit until now to honor the memory of President Mills. He further stated the announcement and threats issued to the general public on 7 July 2012 on the Newsfile program of Joy FM by the government through the Deputy Minister for Information, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, that the government was about to pay the balance of the alleged Isophoton SA judgment debt while the matter was still pending on appeal is a clear sign that the government is incapable of pursuing and protecting the public interest in this matter fairly and impartially. His suit is challenging the conduct of the government in agreeing to pay and making part payment for the alleged settlement of $1,300,000 United States dollars and threatening to complete the unconstitutional payments.
Well, now Joy News can confirm that August 10, the burial day of President Mills, will be declared a public holiday. Now, Joy News sources at the Information Ministry says an official statement will soon be issued to that effect.
Than previously thought. Galamsey activities have destroyed scores of farmlands, including cocoa farms. Water bodies are polluted and open pits left uncovered, among other negative environmental impact. Acting Chief of Manso Mpatase, one of the farming communities in the district, now wants government to intervene.
Even though gold mining provides a lot of disposable income, residents of Manso Mpatase prefer their fertile farmlands, which they believe constitutes the pride and symbol of a strong family. But for some time now, people of this community have been crying out for protection of their farmlands from Chinese illegal miners, but to no avail. This vast land, which underwent series of mining excavations, has been taken over by Chinese Galamsey operators who occupy several lands in the Amansia West district. A new steam chanced upon this mining site, which could have been a productive and fertile land for many farmers. But of course, it has been totally destroyed by Galamsey operations, and most residents point accusing fingers at the Chinese who parade themselves as certified miners. We also saw women with their children busily doing their own thing on the already destroyed land without consideration for their safety. The most worrying sight is how a farmer could walk through these cracks to their farms, as we are told farmers have to cross these deadly mining sites to get to their farms. Water bodies, which are sources of water for the people of Mpatase, are polluted, or in the name of mining. Ebusiampein Kweku is the acting chief of the area. He says they are not happy with what is happening in their community and want government to intervene.
Yes, I say, na nyema no ase wa ha nyina no wontu ni pa bia mehe sisi wo mo afie wa gya nyina no ene obi antimi nkofum bio oja pade bia wa kira aka oja pade bia wa kira aka bi say wuntimi ntwa nsoro nko nti say nyema wa kire nyina ase.
From the Ashanti region, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting for Joy News.
Now, recent clashes between Chinese illegal miners and some residents in the Amansi West district Right, we apologize for that wrong story. We take the story itself. Now, over 24 hours of fight and fire at the North Industrial Area, firemen are still on the ground to make sure the fire is totally quenched. Investigations to find out cause and cost of the damage are ongoing, and the fire service hopes to get the results by tomorrow.
Firefighters were able to put out the fire at 3 a.m. today, but when Joy News visited the scene at 4 p.m., the fire was still simmering. Personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service were still around keeping guard to make sure the sparks do not escalate.
The materials involved in burning are highly flammable, and because of that, occasionally we have flashbacks, and then because of that, our men stayed on till, as I speak to you, they are still there. Yeah, they are still there to ensure that they will handle any flashbacks, and because of that, we are not able to give you the cause of fire now. But then I am sure that by tomorrow, our investigations team will be able to come up with the cause of the fire.
Owner of JK Industries and the proprietor of the Bamboo Guest House shared their grief with Joy News.
I don't know. I came down and there was fire all over the place. It's very bad what's happened over here. I'm devastated looking at the whole thing. I mean, our whole building has gone, everything, all the goods have gone. Nothing is saved. Nothing can be done. We are just watching till the fire subsides. We'll see what to be doing.
It's quite unfortunate. It's very sad because you can see it yourself. Everything is bent down to the brim, to ashes. There's nothing left. Started from the roof and the whole building is now down. Everything in there is bent. There's nothing we could pick up from the place. So as to how I feel, I mean, it's happened, but what can we do,
Staff of the Bamboo were seen gathering the few items that were not consumed by fire. Some workers in the industrial area who witnessed the disaster complained about the unavailability of hydrants. The only two close to the scene of the fire could not be used by firefighters because they were being shut down. The acting public relations officer of the Ghana National Fire Service said the duty of providing a hydrant lied with the Ghana Water Company.
It is important to have hydrants in industrial areas like the North Industrial Area. But then it's unfortunate that we don't have a lot of them. And then we had to travel for quite some distance before we had. This is not to say some of them don't have. For example, Melcom has a hydrant in its premises. We had to support our team with 2 water tankers. But then if we had hydrants around, we wouldn't need to be running around for water to do the firefighting.
He also shared why it was difficult to put out the fire.
We observed over there that the housekeeping over there was very bad. The warehouse contained alcohol, which according to our LI needed permission from the chief fire officer to keep alcohol in the warehouse. We had caustic soda and other flammable items in there. And to mix them with papers and other materials is not proper. You realize that there's no segregation within.
The fire was said to have started around 10:30 a.m. from a warehouse which accommodates 3 companies, JK Industries, Top Industries and an unknown alcoholic distribution company. Within a few minutes, the wind blew the fire into the direction of the Bamboo Guest House, raising the whole structure down. Firefighters were able to keep the fire from spreading to the total filling station, which shares a wall with the warehouse.
Welcome back and straight to some business. In Business Live tonight, Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufo has admitted to Parliament that the supplementary budget he recently tabled before the House contained errors. On to some other stories. The Ministry of Works and Housing will soon be embarking on an exercise to rid the building industry of foreigners operating without license. The industry is currently faced with a challenge of foreign and illegal operators operating without licenses.
Not long ago, the Ministry of Trade and Industry embarked on a mission to rid the retail market of unauthorized traders. This phenomenon will not be limited to the trade industry alone, as the Ministry of Works and Housing would soon embark on a similar exercise to chase out foreign operators in the building industry.
Information available to the ministry indicate that the built environment industry, especially the professional, consultancy, and building construction sectors, are currently fraught with illegal operators, architects, engineers, and so on and so forth. I wish to serve notice that the Ministry for Water Resources, Works and Housing will be out at the heels of such unauthorized persons very soon.
The Architects Decree 1969 and Bylaws of Architects Registration Council requires that foreign architects must first seek license before operating in the country. In an interview with Joy News, the president of the Ghana Institute of Architects, Adote Brown, said it's unhealthy for the country to have foreigners operate without license. According to him, they need to be trained to offer good services to the country.
We have different practices in different countries, and you need to train yourself in tropical architecture. So if we come here and allow just anyone to come and run a business, what is going to happen in the end is that we are depriving our own nationals of development. Development technology is not transferred. We need to, the rule says that if you are a foreigner, you need to work together with a local architect so that if there's something new, you can transfer the technology.
Meanwhile, 55 newly registered architects have been inducted in a ceremony in Accra. Chairman of the Architect Registration Council, Henry Latte, called on government to address the issue of congestion in the city, uncovered drains, and lack of good maintenance of public property, which all have negative impact on the country's revenue and the environment. He also urged the newly registered architects to be more sympathetic to the environment and the society.
Still on Business Live, a concoction of experiences of how people lose their money to thievery, coupled with unending queues at banks, have heightened calls for a cashless economy now, which is basically an economy without cash, one where every business transaction is done electronically. Sounds easy and convenient, but when practiced wholly here in the country, will it have any implications on the economy? According to research, even the United States of America has only managed to cover just about 80% of the economy in its bid to be cashless. Though possible in Ghana, economist John Gachi foresees a number of problems in its implementation. He says the most important move to sustain a cashless economy in the country is to have a national policy by which all other problems can be effectively tackled.
The whole issue about cashless economy ought to be deployed from a national policy point of view. But right now, it's just that some selected businesses are taking business opportunity out as a result of the huge ICT infrastructure that we have in the country. As a result of that, we will have some regulatory risk because the central bank has not come in fully to come up with a proper regulation to regulate how a cashless economy should operate in the country.
Privately, telecom operators and e-business owners have managed to introduce some cashless systems as the mobile money and e-commerce. Nonetheless, that isn't enough to qualify Ghana as a cashless economy. These platforms also demand some level of know-how. So with Ghana's low literacy level, we ask Gachi if this is sustainable.
Illiteracy is going to be a huge problem. Even in Nigeria, where it was deployed from a national front, illiteracy is one of the main challenges that they are facing. Yeah, if there is a way that they can educate those people to use it, fine. But if there's no way, then it will take a very long time before we can achieve
effective deployment of cashless economy.
There is also the fear of loss of jobs, and Gachi assures irrespective of that effect, people must endow themselves with several skills. Well, life could be easy with a cashless economy, but until we get there, we will protect our bulky wallets with all our might.
Rashida Kadiri. Time now for the latest in the world of sports, and we start with football, where Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantakyi will prematurely end his work with FIFA at the Olympic Games in England to attend the funeral of the late Ghana President John Evans Atta Mills. This comes after FIFA boss Zeb Blatter approved his request to leave the competition to pay his last respects. Nyantakyi, who is a member of the FIFA Olympic Games Organizing Committee, was expected to stay on working with FIFA until August 13. And the funeral for the late President Mills, who died last week aged 68, will be held in Accra from 8th to 10th of August. Ghana's sole competitor in the ongoing CAF Champions League, Berekum Chelsea, left Ghana earlier today ahead of their third group game against Egyptian giants El Ali on Saturday. The game will be played behind closed doors due to a ban on the six-time African champions.
Berekum Chelsea currently lies second on the Group A with 4 points after beating four-time North African champions Zamalek 3-2 and earning a vital point after drawing 2-2 away in DR Congo against TP Mazembe in their first two group encounters. Chelsea are headed for Egyptian capital Cairo, where they will play against Al Ahly. Head coach of the CAF Champions League debutant Hans van der Ploem is upbeat about his team qualification to the next round of the continental competition.
When I look at our training activities this week, then I think our boys are very well prepared, and they know what is coming because Al Ahly is not a small team. They won 6-7 times the Champions League, and I think it is also an extra inspiration.
Striker Emmanuel Clotti has scored in all games Chelsea has played in their campaign so far and currently leads the goal scorers chart with 11 goals. The 24-year-old former Great Olympics goal poacher, who has been linked with a move to Italian Serie A side AS Roma, is expecting to carry his goal tally to 13 after Saturday's game.
What I have in my mind that in every game, not even this particular game, every game I have to get less than 2 goals. So I always pray to God. The day that we are going to play against Zamalek and TP Mazembe, they said they want me, but as for me, if somebody want me, then I have to kill the person first, so that if they say 30 million, they can able to pay, so that me too, I'll get my own. So what I have in my mind that I have to kill them so that they will come with big money.
Right, I end the sports bulletin with what happened today in the history of sports.
August 2, and on this day in 1981, Ian Botham pulled out another remarkable Ashes victory for England. Australia needed 151 runs to win the 4th Test in Birmingham, and looked like they would do just that. But Botham produced a sensational spell, taking 5 wickets for just 1 run to close out the match. The 29-run victory came just weeks after Botham had sparked a similarly amazing triumph with the bat instead. It gave England the lead in the series that they would not surrender, and 1981 will be forever referred to as Botham's Ashes. August 2 was also the day that David Beckham played his first game for Real Madrid. He didn't score in the 4-0 win over the China Dragons. And Australian swimmer Susie O'Neill celebrates her birthday on this day, August 2.